Michael, let's go back to the days you were in 12th grade, or grade 12 as they say in Canada.
I wasn't in grade 12 very long,
Okay.
so.
Well, you decided to go to LA, pursue your acting career. What were your first few weeks in LA like?
You know, it's funny, I should have been more nervous and kind of scared than I was, but I went down and right away I was working on a Disney movie, and I had this one-room apartment that I had rented for $250 a month, which was, at the time was actually a huge amount of money. And it was really small. It was like 16 feet by like 8 feet with a bathroom that I washed my dishes in the sink. There was no kitchen. And I had a mattress and an alarm clock. And that's all I remember is like lying on that mattress listening to tick, 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 kind of going, wow, I'm in LA. But you know, it was like I said, it was great. There were great times, and you know, people always kind of talk to me in terms of, well, what a brave decision or whatever. But it was just what I wanted to do.
Now, going to Back to the Future. Now, a lot of people don't realize that film began production with another actor playing Marty McFly. Now, how difficult was that for you to step in when they had already shot a lot of footage?
Well, it was interesting because, you know, I don't know if people know how movies are made, but for example, we shoot a master and then we do coverage, you know, close-ups and stuff. So with a lot of the stuff, they had already shot everybody else's coverage, so I was pretty much locked into what I could do. But the whole experience was, in a way, kind of a blur because I found out about it on a Friday, basically, and by Monday I was shooting the movie. I was doing Family Ties all day and Back to the Future all night. I was getting like 2-3 hours sleep. And, you know, when I saw the film finally, there were like scenes that I couldn't remember shooting. It was really kind of a blur. It was a really wild time.
A film of yours I really enjoyed was Casualties of War. And I remember at the screening afterwards, a lady getting up and she was very angry about the film, that she didn't like a movie where some American soldiers were portrayed as villains.
Right.
Did you foresee that film as not being a big box office hit?
You know, I thought that, you know, and everybody's a Monday morning quarterback. I think that the film, you know, respectfully to Don Steele, who ran Columbia at the time, I think that it was released incorrectly. I mean, because when you get a film that's reviewed like that film was reviewed, I mean, I've never been around reviews like that in my life. They were really incredible. That the way to do it is you open in New York, you open in LA, you open in San Francisco, you open in Chicago, you stagger the opening, you break it out in the fall when people are starting to think about Oscars. But what they did was they opened it wide in the summer in the middle of this kind of, you know, rat race. And so then the burden is not for it to be a good film, the burden is for it to perform at the box office, which it wasn't designed to do. It was too controversial and kind of disturbing a film to do that. It had to kind of build. So I think that had more to do with it not doing well than it being a difficult film to take. Because, you know, Platoon, for example, that's how that opened. It opened, I don't know if you remember, but it opened in a platform release, very staggered, which was the way that it should have been released. But when all is said and done, at the end of the day, as they say in Hollywood, it's a terrific movie that 10 years from now people are going to watch and go, God, what a good movie. So I'm really proud of my involvement in that. And I know that it was controversial. I know that it brought up a lot of feelings in people, but that kind of film is designed to do that.
Turning to For Love or Money. Now, what kind of dealings, unusual dealings, have you had in the past with the hotel concierge, and has your attitude about them changed after doing this film?
Well, yeah, I stayed in hotels for a long time before I realized they were there. No one explained to me these people were there and what they could do. And since then, I've used them a lot. I mean, a couple, you know, they're great for shopping trips. One time I went up to Ottawa we were having dinner, my wife and I were having dinner at the equivalent of the White House up there. It was a dinner for the Prince and Princess of Wales. And I brought my tux and I didn't have a cummerbund or a tie, and so the guy went out and bought me a cummerbund and a tie. And another time I needed underwear. I forgot to pack my underwear. You know, these guys, you give them $50 and they go to Barney's and they get you some underwear. So now, I mean, now I have a real appreciation of them, and I've talked to them a lot, you know, in preparation for the film. And I think actually they'll ultimately really like the movie a lot because I think it's going to increase their tips. Because I think a lot of people didn't realize how tip-driven these guys are. So.
And one last question. Shooting a film in New York as opposed to Los Angeles, do you find that the bystanders react differently?
Well, they're great in New York. I mean, New York is a great city. I spend a lot of my time here. You know, we have an apartment here, and I really love it. And you know, it's funny because when we were shooting the film, I was actually given an award by the mayor because I've made 3 or 4 films in New York, and there's not as much production as there used to be, and so they gave me an award saying how much New York appreciates filmmaking and the fact that I make films here. And I remember like going back to the set with this award, and you know, people driving by going, "Get that truck out of the way! What are you people doing?" You know, it's like, yeah, we're real appreciated. But there's an energy in New York that immediately translates on a film. It is a completely different thing. I mean, in LA, you never see anybody; they're all in their cars. So.